Hello, and welcome to Monumental, where we sit down with entrepreneurs, leaders, visionaries, and big thinkers making monumental change. Here's your host, Evan Holiday.
Welcome to Monumental. I'm your host, Evan Holiday, and today we have on my man, Antoine Martel. Antoine, how are you doing, man?
Really good. Excited to be here.
Yes. Very glad to have you on the show today. Really excited to get into what you're doing. And for our Monumental listeners, a little background on Antoine. Antoine is a real estate entrepreneur leading Martel Turnkey, where they specialize in assisting first-time and veteran real estate investors purchasing cash flow rental properties in a wide range of markets across the U.S. and has sold over $11 million worth of cash flowing real estate, which is the best kind of real estate. So Antoine is also a successful multifamily investor with 71 apartment building units, and he's the author of the popular real estate investing book, A Millennial's Guide to Investing in Cash Flowing Rental Properties, and is host of the popular podcast, A Millennial's Guide to Real Estate Investing. So Antoine, with that amazing resume, let's dive into it. How'd you get started, man?
Yeah, so got started. So I'm 24 years old right now. I got started or introduced to real estate about 5 years ago. My brother actually took me and my dad to like a real estate investing seminar in California. We learned about flipping houses, how people are making money flipping houses, how they run their numbers, how many offers they're making, all the kind of like back end stuff you don't really hear about or see on a daily basis about flipping houses. We're like, oh my God, this is super interesting. We want to do this. I was in college at the time, community college, and I didn't want to transfer to a 4-year university and then go work for somebody else. I wanted to always do my own thing. I've been an entrepreneur since I was a little kid. So when my brother took me and my dad to this, we were like totally driven to make it work and to do as much research as we could. We tried to flip houses in California for like 6-9 months. We were placing offers all the time, always calling contractors, realtors, looking at all the new properties. You name it, we did it. We did direct mail marketing, everything. And just after 6 or 9 months and a bunch of money spent on silly marketing, we realized that we were in the wrong business. We didn't have enough money saved. We didn't know anybody. We didn't have any contractors here. It just didn't make sense numbers-wise to invest here in California. So I eventually then left San Francisco. I moved to Los Angeles to go finish up college. And then my last really year and a half at university, I just started networking my ass off down here in LA and started meeting with people who were actually making money with real estate. I was, would sit them down to coffee and, hey, what are you doing? How did you do it? How did it work? And then pretty much just started my own, educating myself just through networking with all these people every single day. And I met all of them just through Bigger Pockets. I would go and message a bunch of people on Bigger Pockets every single day and say, hey, I go to LMU. I'm interested in real estate investing. I saw that you did XYZ and I'd love to take you out for coffee. And that's literally how I did it. Just met with a bunch of people, listened to the podcast all day long because Bigger Pockets was, around at that time. And I would just listen to those podcasts all day long and then meet with people. And then I started realizing that out of state was the way to go, especially with the budget that we had, which was just $40,000 and the amount of, which you couldn't do anything with here in California, but out of state, it was like, you can go and that can be a down payment for a house. You can buy a house. There's so many different options out of state. So started researching markets out of state, found Memphis, Tennessee, and a bunch of other markets, started researching different markets around the country that really made sense for cash flow and for buying rental properties. And that first market that we found was Memphis, Tennessee. And then I started just researching neighborhoods in those markets in Memphis, Tennessee, for example, and found a neighborhood that was right next to the Memphis International Airport. And I was like, okay, this place is great. FedEx headquarters is there. The houses I can buy them for 20, 30, 40,000 bucks, and I can renovate them for 10, 20,000 bucks, and then I can refinance them. So kind of like the BRRRR strategy, what you would hear about today. And so what I did is my last kind of semester at LMU, I just started making offers at LMU was the university I was at, Loyola Marymount University. My last semester, I started making offers on all these properties in Memphis, Tennessee. Finally, after calling 200 agents and researching deals for a couple of months, I finally found a house that made sense. ended up buying that house for 40 grand, renovating it for $10,000 or $5,000. And then we found a property management company to rent it out. Then we did a cash out refinance with a local credit union, pulled all that money out, and then just kept doing that over and over and over again. And then when it came time for me to graduate in May, I went to my dad and said, hey, I can keep doing this after I graduate if you want me to. I don't want to go and work for somebody else. Let me try to figure this whole real estate thing out. And that's pretty much what I did. So graduated in May. I think we probably had 2 properties at that time. By the end of the year, we had 10 single family homes in Memphis, Tennessee. And so I was like, all right, this thing is working, and it's making good cash flow now. We have a system in place, et cetera, et cetera. And then after the end of that year, then people started reaching out to us to buy those cash flowing rental properties, which then started the turnkey business, Martel Turnkey, which is what we have today, where now we do over 100 homes a year. So that business has been growing steadily over the last couple of years, and we've been taking that money and cash flow and buying apartment buildings even more recently.
That's impressive, man. That's all in 5 years. And sounds
yeah.
like some massive growth and some massive learning too.
5 years. Yeah. 5 years since we just started learning. Right. And then the first 2 years was just a lot of learning and listening to podcasts and meeting and networking and trying a bunch of stuff that failed, wholesaling, flipping houses, doing apartment buildings in California. We tried a bunch of different stuff over those 2 years, and just none of it worked with our budget and who we knew and all that kind of stuff. So eventually the only thing that worked was this out-of-state rental properties thing. And that's what we ended up moving forward with.
So it sounds like really you're learning, you're pivoting based on what works, what doesn't work. It's a trial and error of until you found the model that worked for you all and worked with the capital you had, the investors you had, and seems to be doing very well for you.
Yeah, I agree. And it is a lot of pivoting, and it can be scary because everybody just wants to follow the sexiest thing at the time, which, is either flipping luxury houses in LA or, making $1 million a month wholesaling. And then people go down these paths, and then it doesn't work with their resources that they have, and they need to pivot. They need to go do something else. There's one strategy in real estate that's going to work for no matter where you are on the spectrum, but a lot of people just get stuck because they're trying to get the Rolls Royce that they saw somebody on Instagram got from wholesaling houses. And
exactly.
Because they made it look sexy, and now all they're focused on is wholesaling. They try it for 2 years straight and it's not working. It's time to switch it up and try something new. And a lot of people just aren't pivoting and just giving up.
So when you and your dad and your brother went to that real estate seminar together, what clicked for you all? Like, what was like, all right, this is it, real estate, this is where we're going to head?
Yeah, it was. So our family's really been always interested in real estate, never really invested in real estate, but we always had kind of a thing for it. So whenever we would travel or we would go to open houses just for fun. And so real estate and running numbers and the whole rich dad, poor dad kind of Robert Kiyosaki mentality of, hey, we need to do this. We need to do this. We need to do this. But since we're immigrants from Canada, my dad kind of had to have a job in order for us to get our green card, in order for us to get our citizenship. So he was kind of just stuck in this rat race. And then my mom was the entrepreneur and started all these businesses to try to get, cash flow and to make money. But, starting any business is difficult and has a very low success rate. So it was always something that we were always interested in. But then really going to that seminar kind of just opened up the back curtain to show hey, this is how you can put a system in place to invest in real estate. This is what the numbers should look like. This is how many offers you need to place a month. And, it was mind blowing to any normal person to know that the biggest real estate purchase of your entire life is going to be the home you buy for a normal person. And then you're going to, which is, let's say in the Bay Area was around $1 million at that time. But then you went to the seminar and people were making $20 million of offers every single month. It's what the hell is going to happen if one of them gets accepted? And then just even realizing that you can put all these conditions in place to be able to back out and all this kind of stuff. It was just, very eye-opening to us to see this is what it takes to get it done. And there wasn't really much content about that online or YouTube videos online to show really behind the scenes of what goes on to get one house.
With your, growing up, it sounds like you grew up in a very entrepreneurial house. How did your parents influence kind of the path you chose?
Yeah, I think it did, because when I was probably 7 years old, that's when my parents kind of realized that I was very entrepreneurial. My mom had a retail store. It was a low carb market, like a little grocery store. And so I was there 7 years old with a box cutter, opening boxes, stocking the shelves, running the cash register. It was kind of just in my blood to do it. And, it was kind of my mom's store, and my mom's, all her business ventures kind of gave me the opportunity to really fall in love with selling and running a business, and putting your name on something and putting your name on the wall, and being an entrepreneur and going in and hustling every day. So that's when they kind of realized that, hey, this kid is something special here with business and stuff like that. He just has a knack for business. And then slowly after that, my mom went into a bunch of other businesses. Like she had a sauce company that was sold in Whole Foods and stuff like that. And I would go to her. I was older at the time, but still I would go to her sales pitches, or go to her you would give free samples at Whole Foods to people, and I would be there helping her out. And so it was kind of, learning along the way what it takes to be an entrepreneur, and that you always need to be selling, and the different things you have to do in order to get your product out there. So it was, very, very educational experience growing up, just hanging around with my mom and following her around, seeing what she was doing.
Yeah, that's great. And as far as as you're having kids, or if you're teaching other people those same lessons, what
Yeah.
would you pass on?
Yeah. Well, I think the most important thing that my parents did was probably what my dad did to me when I was growing up. Whenever I would have a business idea or a business venture or something that I wanted to do to like make money, I would say, I would go to him like, hey, I want to do this, but I need to buy, this product from China in order to bring it here. He's like, okay, well, he's like, okay, how much do you need?
Wait,
How
you're
much
a
am I going to?
kid buying stuff from China?
Oh my God. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I was like 11 years old. I think this is when Alibaba came out.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
so Alibaba was just introduced to like the US or something like that. Is the only time I heard about it. And then, so Alibaba was getting big, and I started buying stuff from Alibaba and selling it to kids in middle school and high school, because there was like all these hot products at the time, like these socks or these hats with this logo on it. And I was like, why are people spending $30 for this? It's like, you can get the same thing from China for $4 and I'll sell it to you guys for 10. And so that's what I started doing, just buying
Yeah.
all this stuff from China, importing it,
That's
and
awesome.
selling it to kids at school. And, the most important thing my dad did was probably just invest in those companies, or invest in my ideas, and actually made it possible. Like for him, it was whatever, 200 or a couple $100. But for me, the amount of education I got, and just trial and error, and kind of repeating that entrepreneur muscle growing up, especially at that young of an age, I think was super important to where I am today. Because this may seem to a lot of people like my first business, but no, this is business idea number 35. Like
Yeah.
I've already done all this before. I've made 100 websites. Like, you're just seeing the one business that is finally successful and actually working. But trust me, there's a lot of failures that go back before this, starting at 7 years old. Yeah.
That's a great lesson for everybody. All the Monumental listeners, is it takes that trial and error and pivoting, and also learning from mentors and being surrounded by it. You were surrounded by it since you were 7 years old, or a little kid. Like,
Yeah.
That's what people don't think about when you're like, oh, he's only 24 years old. And it's like, well, he's been at it for a long time. Like,
exactly. Yeah, no, exactly. And like the other thing too is I only realized this recently, is that, when I was little too, my parents set me up with a bank account. So I had a checking and a savings, and I got so addicted to making money or starting something, or to go and like to pretty much sell stuff. And then what I would do to like kind of trick myself, or to go and like make myself hustle harder and work harder, was I would save up 500 or $1,000 in my checkings, and then I would move all the money, or 90% of the money, to my savings, so it wasn't visible when I went to the bank or whatever. And then I would check my bank account. Oh, I have $50 or $100, and then something would trigger in my brain, like, all right, you need to go and find a way to make money now. And it I'm telling you, constantly I would be doing this, draining my bank account at 12, 13, 14 years old, just so that I can go out and hustle and find a new way to. So I'm pretty much testing myself every couple of months on, hey, you need to come with a new idea. You need to make some more money. What can you do? And, so that definitely sparked a bunch of different ideas. One of them would be like, I would go to the grocery store. So our middle school didn't sell soda because it was banned or something like that. There was no soda machines, but every kid at lunch wanted soda. So what I did is I would go before school, go to the grocery store, pick up 2 24-packs. And so you can get soda for like 25 or 50 cents per can. And then I would go sell it to all the kids at school for $1. And I was like, and then eventually the school came to me and they're like, Antoine, you can't be selling soda, because I had dollar bills all across where kids would eat at the tables. And there was like dollar bills everywhere. And the school, whatever, came and shut me down and said I couldn't sell soda anymore. So constantly testing. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, speaking of like getting your business up and running, and what you mentioned before is like, it sounds like you have your turnkey business where you said you do what, 100, you're doing 100
homes a year. Yeah.
Yeah. That's impressive. So, and then you're taking that cash or that income that you're getting from that business and putting that into the apartment business. Is that right?
Yeah, we are, because the one thing, the barrier to entry for apartment buildings is cash, right? So you can know everybody in the world, and it's still going to be difficult for you to raise money for your first, second, third deal because you're going to be a newbie. So, or they're going to take a huge portion of your deal and you may be left with 5% or 3% of the deal. And then, it's not worth your time for $200 a month. But so what we started doing, and we realized that when we first got into the out-of-state thing, was, hey, you can go and buy and start getting invested in real estate for 20 grand and start buying rental properties out of state for 20 grand to do the same thing with a 10 or 20 unit building. And you have to spend the money on the renovations. Now it's a $200,000 investment or $400,000 investment. So what we realized was, hey, we need to just start small and grow our cash up. Once we get our cash up to a certain point, then, okay, now we can go and get into the multifamily side of things. And a lot of our turnkey clients who have invested with us over the last couple of years are now, started buying turnkeys with us, but now they're invested in those apartment buildings and partnering up with us as well. So we started moving our personal capital into those deals, but we're still keeping the turnkey thing alive, because I think there's a lot of people out there who just need to get their feet wet and just dip their toes in the water and buy one single family home and then use that as leverage to get into the bigger deals once they get more confidence on the out-of-state investing thing.
So how have you all been able to build up and keep that machine running while you're also starting this other apartment investing business?
Hiring people. So last year was pretty much, I think we did like 40 or 50 houses last year. And then this year we'll do over 100. Just shy of 100 houses. So this year, at the beginning of the year, I realized that we needed to scale up. I couldn't do every single job. So in January, the beginning of this year, my brother joined full-time, and he does all the acquisition side. And then I hired somebody else to manage all the sales side. So the acquisitions and sales are kind of all taken care of. I just handle everything in between now. And then my dad quit his job and he joined the company as well. So he helps with financing and legal and accounting and all that good stuff too. So the team has definitely grown from one person to, one full-time person to now 4 full-time people. So it's been just doing that and scaling, and then also putting in systems in place. So we finally got a CRM that actually works and helps.
What is that CRM?
We use Zoho CRM.
Zoho.
And before we were just using some free janky little CRM that didn't have any automation. But now the Zoho, like 80% of the emails I was sending last year are now just all automated. So with a click of a button, you change the property from under contract to under construction, and then it's going to email everybody and be like, hey, we bought this house. Can you sign us up for insurance? Hey, we got this house. Can you add it to our property management portal? Hey, can you tell the contractor to begin work? So it does all of those things automatically. And now we don't even have to think about it. And we just have to keep refining that CRM and making it work better and better. And, every couple months it is getting better and better as we come up with new ideas.
That's great. Yeah, honestly, I mean, that's something that I think a lot of business owners want to get to, but either fail to or give up or or don't even think about it, is that those back-end systems, like you said, like, and you brought up some very specific examples of where you're like, hey, we have, when properties go under contract or under construction, like it emails out all these people. And you're right. I mean, that's a huge time saver, because those are emails that, need to be sent, but don't take much work or effort, but they still take up space in your mind.
Exactly.
And it diverts you from thinking about bigger problems and how to solve bigger problems.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And imagine we have like 10 stages. Every stage has certain things that are, created. So, even when we sell a home, we, have somebody that as a task is created for somebody to go and list the property on the MLS to mark it as a sold comp. We email the insurance company automatically. And yeah, just the amount of brain space that it takes, it doesn't matter. It doesn't make any sense to have that brain space. You need to use it for solving bigger problems. Like you said, all these little minute things and even if you don't need to hire somebody and you can make a system do it, that's even better. So I'd rather have the system run 90% of it and then just have 1 or 2 employees run everything else. That's going to be the best damn system ever. So, we're slowly starting to automate more and more things, like analyzing deals, for example. Like you can scrape Redfin every single morning and then have a VA analyze deals and then, spit out the good ones. And then you have one person just check 3 or 4 properties a day and boom, you're done. You've analyzed every single deal on the MLS for that day. And so, yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can do when you have scale.
So how do you all, when you're looking at building these systems, how do you say, okay, this is the structure we want to take our system?
Yeah.
Like these are the steps.
Yeah. And so we started with just like using Google Sheets and a free CRM, right? So we kind of started with nothing, and then you slowly build it over time, I would say. So of course, you're going to have to sit down with everybody, or if everybody is yourself, then sit down with yourself and write it down on a piece of paper, like the different stages of a project that you think, and just get started. I think people spend way too much time on making the CRM perfect to begin. It's not. Yeah. It's going to be horrible. It's going to be terrible when you first start. That's how there's no way you're going to make it and it's going to be run perfectly and smoothly and stuff like that. It's just not going to happen. So I recommend just get something up there, start putting properties in, and the next day you're going to be like, oh wait, I forgot about this. And then slowly adding things in. And that's really how we've just made our CRM, because everybody's business model is different too. So you can't go and buy templates for these things. Like there's no turnkey rental property sales companies CRM template, like everybody's is going to be unique and different. And even if you're buying a real estate investor template or CRM, you're going to need to customize stuff. So, and we found that Zoho was the best one that we can customize, and that we can also hire people to customize because it's a pretty big platform as well.
That's great. And have you been able to take that same mindset and the same systems over to your apartment investing business?
Not yet, because we didn't think it was going to blow up like it did. I mean, we bought our first apartment building, 20 units just a year ago, exactly, to 3 days away, December 14th.
Nice.
So that's 20 units. And then this year, now we're all the way up to 71 units. I thought we were going to buy, another 20 unit building this year, but no, the thing just exploded. So we're working on a system now, because there's certain things that you forget when you buy a multifamily. Like when a week before you close, you should reach out to the home warranty company to get a home warranty. Well, I forgot. And, so now we're putting in a system in place to kind of make a checklist for when we have an apartment building under contract. And then at some point we'll probably need to make its own CRM just for the apartment buildings, because you're dealing with a lot of investors, a lot of different money coming from different places. It's a whole different accounting. And so the accounting thing is a big thing as well for us, because when you're selling 8 to 10 homes a month and buying 8 to 10 homes a month, it's now 20 real estate transactions every single month, and 10 of those will have investors, or 20 of those will have investors, and that you need to pay out and do all this kind of stuff. So it's a lot of accounting that we have as well going on the back end. And so there's a lot of systems to set up.
I love it. So what overall, like, what is your favorite part about all of it? What gets you most excited?
I don't know. I think I'm just addicted to doing deals and getting deals done. the single family homes is I've automated a lot of it where it doesn't really give me that high that it used to. Because you're first, second, third single family home, you're going to be ecstatic when the thing closes.
You've been numbed by it.
I have been numbed, but now like I was super excited yesterday because, so this got me riled up. We bought a 16-unit apartment building, and it has a really horrible parking lot. But parking, like the building's like this. People are going to listen to this. So there's a 16-unit apartment building. There's a horrible parking lot. Let's just say that doesn't make any sense at all. There's a big parking lot right next to the property that's completely vacant. Nobody's using it, and we don't own it. It's a different lot, but it's literally right next to our property, and our tenants were using it, and just for free. Like there was no signage, no verbiage that said don't park here, nothing. So my broker reached out to that property management company and the owner of that lot and said, hey, we just bought the building next door. Can we buy the lot? Like our tenants are already using it. Let's just give you an all cash offer. Let's buy the lot. And we reached out to them with an offer a couple of months ago, and they said, yeah, we'll get back to you, whatever. Like there's some big hedge funds, so they didn't really give a crap about our, $50,000 little tiny thing. And so they were like, yeah, we'll get back to you whenever. I thought it was going to be like in March or something like that. Yesterday we got a phone call. All right, we'll do $60,000. And I was like, holy shit, that was so fast. Like it only took a couple of weeks instead of a couple of months. And so because now I can make the experience way better for the tenants. I can connect all the parking lots. It's going to make it way smoother and way easier for the tenants to get in and out. They're going to have a huge parking area. And now I have double the amount of lot square footage. Like that whole lot is the same size as my 16-unit building plus the parking lot. So
wow.
Now I own a huge area in Midtown Memphis that, in 10 or 20 years, I can just demo the whole thing and build a high-rise apartment. Oh, I'll call you to come and build a high-rise.
Let's do it. I love that.
So yeah, it's just exciting to, put those deals together, and, there's no book that's going to tell you how to do it or whatever. It's you got to go find the property owner. You got to skip trace them. You got to call them 150 times until they answer, until somebody answers. And that's how we got the deal done. It just all comes down to the hustle and just thinking creatively what's the best.
Yeah.
And also, like, how the hell do you value a vacant lot? To me, it's worth a lot of money because I own the building next door. So now I have this whole big parcel, right? So to me, it's worth, $250,000, but to this hedge fund who just owns this tiny piece between two buildings, it's pretty much worthless. They were thinking of ways to make money off of it, and I was like, it doesn't make any sense for you guys to do this. And they wanted to put like storage trailers in there and like rent out storage. I'm like, no, don't do that. I'll just pay you the money to take it off your hands. And so yeah, it gets complicated, but yeah, it's gonna be cool.
I completely agree, man. That's what gets me like just so pumped up about this is like every day is different. You can get creative. You can get creative with numbers, negotiations. You get in all kinds of weird meetings and conversations.
I know.
But it's just chasing that deal of like you're putting something together and you're actually making something happen. You're building something. You're rehabbing something. You're fixing something up.
Yeah.
Like you're making something nicer.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. The renovations do, like, I went to Memphis a week ago and we bought the building. The last time I was there was before we bought the building doing our inspections. And then I just went again a couple months later after we closed, and our guys had started the painting of had started doing everything exterior, and the place looked, 10 times better than when we bought it. And yeah, that gets you pumped up too. It's like, damn, I did this. Like, look at all these people here, like working on the property. And now the tenants are coming up to me and saying, hey, thank you so much for doing this, this, and this, and building this fence. And we feel so safe at home now and getting into our units. And it's just like, wow, we actually, made a difference and made these people's lives,
yeah, exactly.
Make them feel safer when getting into their own apartment, like where they didn't feel safe before.
Yeah.
Just for a $15,000, $20,000 investment, you can change somebody's world every single day.
Yeah. You're exactly right. Like literally that's foundational for them, for your residents.
Yeah.
So that's huge.
I know.
So what are you all thinking about for Like what's the big plan for 2020? What are you guys thinking?
Yeah. So the turnkey. So this year we did just shy of 100 single family homes, and then we did around 71 units of apartments. Around exactly 71 units of apartments, and then so next year for the turnkey business, I think we're going to do like around 125 homes. So just do a little bit more. And then for the multifamily side of things, I think our goal is going to be to do probably around the same amount of, probably try to do 100 units of apartments. And then long-term goal is to just keep the Martel Turnkey business running. I think it can still scale up a little bit more to maybe 200 or 300 homes. And then the apartment building side, just get the dream is to have like 10,000 units of apartment buildings, all value add, all renovated super nicely. So that's what the long-term vision and goal is. And yeah,
I love it. That's awesome. You got to have that BHAG, that big, hairy, audacious goal to keep you moving every day.
Yeah, I know. And it's crazy. I was talking to somebody a couple of days ago, and they say you underestimate what you can achieve in the long term. And so like it totally, like looking like 2 years ago when I first bought that first house, if you told me I was doing 100 houses a year in 36 months, I would have told you to take a hike. But now I'm doing it. It's like, now it's like nothing. It's, this is what I do. And it's just, you're in the weeds every single day. You don't really like look up above and be like, holy shit, we're doing this much.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. And then, if you're looking 10 years out, then that's just 2 or 3 years, like 10 years out, what the hell is going to happen? And so it definitely is exciting, and, getting motivated and just getting up and doing it every single day is getting me closer to the goal.
So what, I have to commend you for your social media. You do a very good job and
Thank you.
Really like engage with people and bring awesome content. So what advice would you have for our Monumental listeners?
Yeah. So content is hard. I mean, I would recommend go to my page, which is at Martel Antoine on Instagram, and just go scroll all the way down to see how I started. Because now there's a system in place, and, we're rocking out content every single day. But before, it was literally me in my apartment like this and saying, hey guys, today I'm doing, and like, go watch those videos. And, it took me 20 tries to get one video done. And now it's just, everything is recorded. It's a one shot, and then it's done. The video's done. I don't care what people think anymore. And it's a big hurdle to get over when you're first starting. Like, oh, my hair doesn't look right, or I have a lint on my shirt. And eventually you stop caring what other people are going to think, and you're just going to be able to push out really educational content. And that's when your content really drives home, because with the social media stuff, there needs to be a lot of content. So I've been posting every single day for the last, except for the weekend, so five times a week for the last year and a half. And the content has gotten a whole lot better since when I first started, me in my dark apartment. And it's a numbers game. So the more content that you can put out that's educating people and providing value first, and also not selling anything. So like, I don't have a course, I have a book, but I literally give it away for free every day. So it's also because I think a lot of like realtors really mess up on their social media, because they're always like posting about the house they have for sale. It's like, why am I going to follow a realtor who's just going to pitch me their house that they're, tell me about you, tell me about the neighborhood, tell me about what's going on, tell me about all the stuff that's happening, the new yoga studio, the new coffee shop, and then, entice me with that. And then I'm going to reach out to you like, hey, where is that? Hey, is there any houses for sale around? Like, that's how you get started. And so providing value up front, don't sell anything, and then just try to figure out content at scale to post every single day, and then use hashtags when you're first starting out too, to get you on that explore page as well.
Dude, killer advice. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, let's jump into our monumental questions.
Cool.
What does success mean to you?
Wow. I would say being able to do what you want, when you want, where you want, with whoever you want.
Boom. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any daily habits or morning rituals that lead to a great day?
I set my alarm. I get up at 7 or 8, and then I just go I make coffee, and then I go right to the computer and sit down and put out fires for the first 3-4 hours of the day. And I think that it's not really like a ritual or anything, but it's just getting up and early and just attacking the biggest problems of the day right from the beginning, because then the rest of the day, you're handling all this stuff, getting 80% of your work done in those first 3 to 4 hours. And then after that, then you can think about, now that you put out all the fires for the day, then you can go and figure out, okay, what can I do to expand or grow my business or network or do different things like that. So I think just getting up every single day and going after it and not really like hiding from your problems in the morning and like putting things off till the end of the day or whatever, when you feel like it, it's just get up and attack things head on. And you'll, even if you just do that 2 or 3 times a day and attack things head on and put out fires right when you wake up, I mean, you've already had a more productive day than 90% of the people who are in their 9 to 5.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So what about a favorite book or book you're currently reading?
Okay, so there's one by Ryan Serhant called Sell It Like Serhant. It's a really good book that I don't hear mentioned a lot, but if you're in sales, which all of us are, no matter what you're selling, a syndication or a turnkey rental property, we're all in sales, and you're eventually going to need a sales team to help you. So Sell It Like Serhant from Ryan Serhant, who was on $1 Million Listing New York, is a really good read.
That's awesome. You're right. I have not heard that very often, but
See?
I love it. All right. Well, Antoine, this has been a phenomenal episode. I've had a blast. I've learned a lot. And I know you're crushing it. And guys, if you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to reach out to Antoine. Oh, speaking of which, I forgot to ask you, how can our Monumental listeners reach out to you or connect to you?
Sure. So first of all, I'll give all you guys a free book. It's, if you go to the link free.martelantoine.com, you can go and get my book that I just came out. It's about investing in cash flowing rentals out of state and how I did what I did, etc. You can reach out to me on Instagram. I do try to get through my DMs, but it's hard when you get one every couple of minutes. But feel free to reach out and comment on my posts and stuff like that. It's probably going to be the best way to get in touch with me. And I post a lot of good content there. And then I have a podcast as well, A Millennial's Guide to Real Estate Investing.
Yes, I love it. Well, guys, take Antoine up on that. He is crushing it day in, day out. So I had a blast, Antoine.
Yeah, me too.
And guys, if you enjoyed today's show, make sure to follow Antoine, follow myself, tag both of us, tag this episode. Let us know you're listening. And as well, make sure to leave a review and subscribe to Monumental on iTunes. And with that, have a monumental day.